I'm going to devote this podcast to the archons and those like them, because these archons take on new names as people progress and as the people were scattered during Babylonian times. You see, it would be prior to the fall of Babylon that everyone would understand these storylines and they would all be in agreement with them. But it was when God scattered the people and broke up the languages that these storylines took on a new life of their own. The characters became renamed, and the scenes and the territories and the names of various other characters that were a part of this same storyline will take on new names as well. And it would create a level of confusion, because there would be time that would have happened and life cycles that would come and go. And people would forget that we were all once one body of people. And we would adapt to the circumstances of our environment that we grew up in or that we were raised in. And we would remember the stories that were told to us by our parents. And we would meet others from other areas and we would hear stories that they would know from their parents. And we wouldn't be able to bridge the divide. And we would think that they're speaking of something different than what we're speaking of, when in truth, we're all speaking to the same thing. So what I saw on social media was that the archons, this group of malevolent, I Googled it, rulers of the Gnostic traditions. That's what they were. The archons are today's Satans and devils, if you want to call them that. Well, not even if you want to call them that. That's what they're equated to. We call them Satan, and we call them the serpent. We call them devils. But in the Gnostic tradition, they would be considered archons, a group of malevolent rulers, beings that created disharmony. In the Gnostic tradition, it is spoken to of Sophia. It doesn't speak to Eve in the Gnostic tradition, even though she's equated to Eve. It is looked upon in that tradition as she being the same person as Eve, different name, and a somewhat different storyline. It is stated that she was in her universe thinking. And these archons would lay a trap for her. They will set a sequence of events. They will set a stage for a sequence of events to befall her. They would learn her nature by observing her. She would know of them, just like Eve would know of the serpent when he comes upon her. She respected him. Sophia would know of these archons, and she would respect them. They were rulers. They were very knowledgeable individuals. Individuals with knowledge that she herself needed. You see, Sophia would have reached her threshold, her highest point of attainment in her level of growth. And she was fine with that, until presented with an alternative. These archons will present to her another level, a new threshold. And because she's innately curious, they knew her nature. And it will be this innate curiosity that would have allowed her to reach the heights that she would have reached in her ascent. She's at her highest height. She's standing in the fullness of her creation. She wants no more than what she has. until presented with the option of more. And when the option of more is presented to her, she does not fight the desire to reach for more, because it is innately within her to do so. You see, the error was in her reaching, but truthfully, the error was in the presentation of more. Had she not been presented with the option of more by those that she honored and revered for their intelligence, she didn't honor and revere them because they were handsome and gregarious, enthusiastic. No. She revered them because of the level of intelligence that they themselves had ascended to. She knows such because by nature, she's curious. And they present her with this next level, this new thing, this carrot that they dangle intently, intelligently in front of her. A carrot that they would dangle in a way that would tweak her interest. And she would reach for that. She would strive for that. There would be a desire within her for that. She would begin to think in ways of cultivating the gap between she and that. And then she would act. And in her acting, the mere fact that she took action, regardless of the provocation being right or wrong, we all see that the provocation was wrong. It was a grand setup. But the mere fact that she acted is what they focused in on. And in her acting, she would reach for that which was not of her without knowing. She does not know this. It is presented to her as if it is within her reach and within her right to do so. She could have looked at it upon as, this is the next level. I just didn't get the memo from God. I'm following the desire within me. And I'll reach out of emotion. And when she reaches, when she takes action and reaches, she steps out of the space that was ordained for her and into their trap. And she falls. And in her fall, she feels as if, okay, I can break my fall. I can utilize my internal power to help break my fall. But she quickly comes to realize that none of her avenues of defense work. She can't break her fall. What normally would kick in such a state does not. She knows really nothing of will in this way. She's never had to depend on will in such a manner because she has always stood in alignment to her creation. And sure, she would utilize will, but in a way where she does not have to allow will to be the driving component She's moving in avenues that come naturally to her, so they don't need as much will. But this new thing, this stepping outside of what is of her and what was allotted for her, requires pure will. And this is the realm of these beings. Will. And she falls into their web, their trap, the physical world, right where they wanted her. Because in the physicality,